Thursday, August 15th, market analysis, Stan Ehrlich, almost 10 o'clock California time in about 5 minutes. No, I start out with stock market indexes and I go to futures and occasionally some other topics. We start out with the E-mini, daily data charts, and with the other indexes from daily to short-term, 1 minute or 5 minute charts for each of those indexes. Now, we had a buy signal, green, bullish engulfing, oversold conditions, custom candlestick, custom RSI on August 8th. My opinion has been wrong so far, but the signal was sure as hell right. And we are now almost high and last in a very nice trade from August 8th on the E-mini. And you'll see a few more on the other indexes in a moment. So, opinion-wise, I still am saying, frankly, most of this week, I didn't think it was going to go this far to begin with. I think the market's going to top out soon. I expect it to turn down. I am looking for basically a move down in general into October. That is not changing. Even if we go all the way back up and make a new high for the whole trend, maybe I'm still going to be long the strategy. But October, since 1997, has only missed 3 times, providing a very good buying opportunity. That means a down move into October to some extent. Now, the last couple of years have been spectacular for the October lows, including 2022, the bottom of a bear market and the beginning of a bull market. All right. And the bull market we're still in. So the short-term chart, let me finish. The next resistance area is 55.87. I don't know. It might even be reached today. I didn't expect it to get this high in the first place. Every resistance area that we got to, we just went right through it like a hot knife through butter. And yeah, I'm not a fundamentalist, but that's probably what's driven this. And I know we got good economic news this morning, but I also keep mentioning, and it's very true, none of these things happen every single time, but markets move on anticipation and reverse on realization. So we've had a couple of good reports lately, and that's driven the market up. I still think it's going to reverse. Next chart's going to be the 5-minute chart on the E-mini, and at 5:30 this morning, we got some economic news that popped the market up, and it's still going up apparently as a result. But look at this automated signal trade. We got long at approximately 53.60. 53.60. Near the close on the 8th. Yep, on the 8th. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the 5th day in this long position that is doing very spectacularly. And my stop is now up to about 55.02. And again, 55.56 at the moment. Next, Spider. Not exactly the same situation. Didn't get the bullish engulfing on the 8th as a result of having shorter trading hours. But the Spider is gapped up this morning. And the old-fashioned gaps, this very much looks like an exhaustion gap. And that's what I've got to say. I think it might be. That means the market's going to top out probably today or right around these prices and start to head back down again. Tomorrow's Friday, the end of the week. Sometimes there's profit taking or evening up or whatever you want to call it on a Friday, especially for 3-day weekends, and we have a regular 2-day weekend. Next chart. Spider short term, same stuff, opened, fiddled around, and just ran up. Next, on the QQQ, gapped up this morning, came right up to a significant resistance area that I've had showing for a long time. It stopped there once before. This would be classic. It bumped right up against it almost exactly. And, well, I hope it's turning down now. Next, QQQ 5-minute. You don't see much evidence, that's for sure. You got to wait until it comes down, at least starting to get lower than today's lows and more. Next, NASDAQ futures. We did get a buy signal on August 8th. Green, bullish engulfing, in oversold condition. Unfortunately, not the bottom. We picked the top of the market and we almost got the bottom. That was a nice trade, small short-term profit over a couple of days. Remember, I got 4 variations of ER signals. ER signal ER1 for scalping overnight and ER3 for scalping overnight. Next chart, NASDAQ 5-minute. Bought it near the close on August 8th, and we are still long, and this stop is just crawled up underneath the price action, and it's controlled by price movement as well as an oscillator. Next, YM. Buy signals almost at the bottom, and another one a couple of days ago, but now we're getting very close to overbought, not quite there yet, but in a resistance area. So I've got to keep saying the same thing I had to say in the last couple of days. I'm sorry, I'm not picking the top yet exactly, but I'll scream bloody murder when I think I've got it in hand. I'm just warning you, it's about to happen, but it keeps going up. YM short term, very strong. Now, the Russell had a buy signal 2 days ago on Tuesday, and it looked like it was stopping at the beginning of this large red zone, the resistance area, but it's now up to and through the beginning of that, approaching the middle, and I can't rule out the darn thing could go maybe all the way up to 22, 23. I don't think so, but again, that's my personal opinion. Now, the buy signal on Tuesday got stopped out on Wednesday, yesterday, but with a nice profit over a 24-hour period, a small short-term swing trade. So we're flat at the moment, but that was a great trade right there. Next, this is the detail of the ER1 scalp. Made a little money in a day trade, looks like over about a 2 or 3 hour period. And then the ER1 overnight stayed overnight. And then the stop came up dramatically because of that sharp rally in the early in the day, 5:30 a.m. California time, pulled the stop up dramatically. And then when the market came back down, it hit it. We're out, took a profit. Don't cry over spilt milk. I didn't want to suffer through all of that movement all the way down here, turning a profit into a loss. I don't like doing that. Very bad habit. The loss may not recover. And you had a profit. Next, bonds. Big sharp down day today. Not sure why the markets are up as strong as they are, except for the fundamental report that came out. Producer price index, I think it was. I'm not sure. And bonds may be heading south like I was expecting. So I'm on track with interest rate futures. I am expecting some sort of zigzagging back and forth movement, sloping downward relatively slowly, but into the circle, which is during October, and the price range is at or just above the yellow, what is currently my neckline. Now, the pattern is a head and shoulder bottom if you use this low, March of 23 as a shoulder. The bottom of the market, we got a buy signal at the exact low day. Again, you can't get better than picking the turning point to the damn day. Yeah, you could buy the low of the day. I'm sorry, I don't know how to do that. Now, yeah, you buy every tick all day long, and then you get the bottom. So the timing of it would have led us to about June 4th or so, give or take a few days, which is right in the middle of this, which I believe is the last shoulder. Now, the lowest low is typically called the last shoulder low, and I'm going to go with that. And it was a little early, about a month early. Not to destroy the pattern. It's still good. The pattern says we are supposed to go up to, at a minimum, and it probably will be, I'm going to think early next year, but all the way up to at least 140. Comment. If I'm right about this sideways zigzag and a low coming up in October around these price levels, then I'm going to be talking about a larger time frame wise, October 22, October 23 for the head, October 24 for the last shoulder, and a larger upside objective longer term. But that remains to be seen. Notes, same story. Up to resistance, overbought, did make a short term, well, not short term, new high for the year. I am expecting that it's going to come down into this circle during October and test its neckline. And let me do this. There we go. Shoulder, head, shoulder. I really should put some markings underneath these lows. I'll do that for tomorrow, I think. There's no reason for this particular circle. Delete that. Minimum upside objective at 120. But again, we still may be in the process of forming a much larger bottom. So I think there's a good chance that there could be a low price in October in this green circle in this price range. Crude hit resistance, stopped, not quite overbought, and starting to work its way back down. But the bigger picture here is a large pennant. You got three highs all lower than each other, and you got 1, 2, 3, 4 lows all higher than each other. And it goes back all the way to May of 23. So a year and a few months. That's a fairly big pennant formation. Normally, they may be a few weeks to a few months, not necessarily this big over a year, but it qualifies for it. And I'm thinking we're going to come right back down to 72. Natural gas, now bumping right up against resistance, not showing any sign yet of turning around, but I am expecting it to turn back down because of the resistance area. The longer term situation here is still basically bearish. Next, heating oil. Basically the same story, intermediate to longer term, but we could rally back up to a little bit more of this resistance area around 2.45 before it heads south. I don't know. This high a couple of days ago, well, that could have been it. It is at a little bit of resistance, not that profound a level, but still, if you're going to draw a line off of these lows horizontally, and there it is, it came right up to it. Next, gold, silver, platinum, copper. Then we're going to go to grain and meat. We got some very interesting stuff developing here. Gold had a bearish engulfing yesterday. Today it's up slightly, but it did make a low lower than yesterday's low, and the high is under lower than yesterday's high. So basically, on the average, it's a down day, although currently the quote is a little higher than yesterday's close, making it, an up day at close to close. Now, we're between a rock and a hard spot. It's hit resistance area, the top of a big sideways with a slightly upward slanted top, sideways trading range. And I think it's going to come down to the bottom of it again, 2350-ish, and break it and come down to about 2178. Probably take a couple of months. Next, silver. This head and shoulder top I've talked about now every single day in detail. And it's a large head and shoulder top with a head and shoulder in the last shoulder. There's a pattern inside a pattern. The little head and shoulder top has already worked, and it took it only 2 days to do the job. But it triggered off the neckline on the bigger pattern, and that downside objective is down to 24.1. And I think it's going to make it down there. We had a couple of buy signals. They worked pretty darn good. I mean, that one is the low of the market right now. And today is a higher high since that buy signal, working very, very nicely. In fact, It could rally some more. I don't have a problem with it getting up to 29.35 and even a little bit higher than that, but I'm fairly confident that this price range in here is going to stop the rally. So we're looking at 29 something. Next, platinum, almost the identical same story, except we've got a very good support area that did end up holding it and turn it around. No buy signals at the turn like gold or silver, I meant. And the head and shoulder top with the shoulder, head and shoulder is the last shoulder of the big one. Same story. It worked. Minimum downside objectives have been filled on the last shoulder, head and shoulder top. The big pattern is supposed to go down to 808. Again, probably take a couple months. High grade copper. Second buy signal today. Now, ER1 scalp in progress. We haven't gotten out. We bought it when it made a high higher than yesterday's high. It's still long to the current tick. We bought it around 40.097 and we're at 40.148. So, yeah, a nice little profit. Could get out here, but we're going to rely on our trailing stop, of course. And maybe it'll get up to about 43. I'm still bearish longer term. I don't think this is any kind of a major long-term bottom, but let's see how it handles the resistance area, which I think it's going to get up to at 4.3. Next, soybeans have been making new lows. Bearish intermediate to longer term on all of the grains. I can't help it. Even though we've had some buy signals just in the last several days, I only expect short-term rallies that aren't going to go very far for very long. Nothing for a buy signal here, only oversold. We might bounce up to 1014, maybe 1037. There's a slim chance it could get all the way back up to 1105. I doubt that. Soybean oil, oversold. Trying to develop a very small 2-week double bottom. Has the possibility of doing it. No reversal yet. You know, it's probably going to break it. Probably going to close lower than where it is, and you will have no double bottom. It literally has to turn up almost exactly right here in order to be a good double bottom. It's almost exactly the same price it was for the low of the break on August 6th. So if there's a bounce, what can I expect on a double bottom? There's the highest high between the two lows and maybe up into here, a little more than I would normally expect. But the long-term bear trend, I don't see it changing. Meal, essentially the same story. Finally got to its minimum downside objective this week from our double top formation with a bearish signal on the second high. Great. It just took forever for the darn thing to start going into new low ground. About 2 full months, but it did it. So we hit support, oversold, and we're bouncing. Classic. How far? Well, first stopping point is 312 and maybe up to 323 and a half. But that's probably about it. I am looking for support to get broken. I am looking for a lot lower levels, taking out 287.70 in a while, maybe a few weeks, and down, down, down. Corn, same story, but both corn and wheat have started to act a little bit more like they're trying to bottom out for a pretty good rally. Corn doesn't really have any huge resistance until you get back up to 426. So far, our buy signal is at the bottom of the market, the exact low. We haven't done much. Been sideways for 3 days, today being the third. I need to get up to and close above 386 ASAP, and hopefully above the top of this little resistance zone where I think it's bottoming out in. So we'll, stand by. Corn could start to get a little bit more friendly here. Wheat, 4 buy signals, one of which is the almost lowest low, not quite, July 31. And rallies have not really held on to their strength. Downside correction this week, trying to rally, but it fell back and now a little lower on the day and low and last, and it doesn't look like it wants to hang in there. Looks like it wants to give me some trouble here. These signals have already been offset because this correction down is too much for my comfort. Again, when I get a profitable trade going to a certain extent, you can't have a profit for 2 or 3 ticks. Got to be, reasonable. I try to lock it in as best I can so I don't turn a profitable trade into a losing trade. Big mistake. People do it all the time. I was a commodity broker 35 years, stockbroker for a couple of years, hedge fund manager, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, cattle. We bought it because we had to. We had a buy signal on August 9th. It's doing okay. There's your trade line, that green line from our original buy, 179.70, up to the current 181. Our stop is lagging behind a little bit. I could easily change the kicker on that and make it go up a little faster, quicker. Probably should. And then you'll just lock in a small profit and sit back and wait. Hogs. Nothing lately. It did get up to resistance today, right smack at that resistance area, and looks like it's turning back down. Can't say that for sure. I'm kind of neutral to a bit bearish, but we're ending up with a complicated situation here at the moment, besides the resistance stopping the rally, but we're right there right now. So we really haven't turned down. Okay, back to the E-mini and the short-term E-mini. I don't see anything super significant yet for it to turn down. You guys have a great day. Profitable trading to you. See you tomorrow on Friday.